Yo, how's it going? Happy New Year. I wanted to make a video just talking about the games that I played in 2024. So in 2024, I have a massive backlog, just like everyone else I know that has any amount of retro games. And I decided to pick 10 that I wanted to try and finish this year, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about it. I can happily report that I did finish all of them. So yeah, I just wanted to run through a couple of them, talk about the ones what I liked about them, what I didn't like about them, ones I felt really strongly about, and ones that I didn't feel very strongly about. So the first one I want to talk about is, if it will focus, Rocket Knight Adventures. So this was a game I completely missed on the Sega Genesis when I had it as a kid. The Genesis was the first console I ever had. And I'm kind of sad that I did, because I really loved this game. The graphics were awesome. It was cartoony and fun and fast and sort of frantic and pretty challenging too. I ended up enjoying this like a lot more than I thought I would. So it definitely ended up higher in my overall ranking of these 10 games. The one that I played after that was, this is Yoshi's Island. This is a Super Famicom card, so it's in Japanese, but this is the first time I played this. There's not much to say about this one. I mean, it's a certified hood classic. Everybody loves Yoshi's Island. I don't think I've ever met a person that's like complained or said Yoshi's Island is like a bad game. Super playful and like sort of, I don't know, kiddish style graphics, cartoonish, but in more like a storybook way. It was very fun, also very challenging. Baby Mario, when you lose him and he starts to cry, absolutely terrifying. I also played Folklore this year on the PS3. I wasn't so hot on this game. I thought that I would like it a whole lot more than I did. It's kind of like it's like an action game, but you collect powers in sort of a Pokemon-esque fashion from the people that you fight, and it's in like a Irish theme. You end up on this little island, and you're trying to investigate. You received a letter from your mom, and you ended up on this island because she went missing, and you're trying to investigate who sent you this letter, if your mom's still alive. And you play as two competing characters, not competing really, but you play as a girl, and then you play as Keats, who's like this mystery journalist, and you're kind of playing both sides of the story with both of those characters, and you have to play each chapter as each character. So it ended up becoming a little repetitive because both chapters ended up being the same, except for the powers that you get to use. Keats's powers would always be different than the girl's powers, but yeah, I just ended up not being too hot on it. It ended up feeling really repetitive to me. The environment was cool, the vibes were there, but yeah, I wasn't as hot on it as I thought I would be.
I lost my mother when I was very young. My only memory of her is telling me bedtime fairy tales about a mysterious village. The village of Doolin, where the living could meet the dead.
The next two that I did were Viewtiful Joe and Viewtiful Joe 2. These are both Capcom games. If you've never played them before, they're like side-scroller action games. They ended up being really fun for me. I really enjoyed them. They're sort of like a play on like Movie Land, so there's like a lot of like movie-adjacent jokes and trivia and things like that packaged inside of it, along with like he's kind of an otaku. Joe's kind of an otaku, so like Ultraman kind of jokes, like Viewtiful Joe is basically kind of like Ultraman. And you get all these powers, and you get one that can like slow down time so you can dodge moves a little bit easier. You get one where you can speed up time, and you get one that's like a zoom in, like a movie VFX zoom in, and it makes all your moves do more damage. These games ended up being very challenging as well, like the boss fights and some of the levels. It took me a while to get through all of them because they were a lot more challenging than I thought. Something I really liked and thought was kind of funny with these was that the only difficulties available are kids and adult. So I felt like even if I was a kid playing these games for the first time, I probably would have chosen adult. I feel like naming the difficulties kid and adult is like a debate to get you to play it at the harder difficulty of adult. But yeah, super fun games. Very easy recommendations for me. These are very fun. They're pretty difficult and challenging and just a good time.
Say the word. Henshin!
Henshin and go-go, baby!
Next one was Alan Wake. So I wanted to play the first Alan Wake. I've already played Control, but I'd never played this. And in anticipation of the Alan Wake 2 coming out last year, I wanted to play this one. So I ended up actually really enjoying it. It was getting a little repetitive towards the end, and the gameplay was starting to get a little stale, but it doesn't overstay its welcome. It's a pretty short game, so it ended pretty much right as I started to get bored with the gameplay itself. So yeah, if you like Twin Peaks or Twilight Zone or anything like that, this has that written all over it. It feels like you get to walk through Twin Peaks or like an episode of Twin Peaks or an episode of the Twilight Zone. And they have these cool, like, just like in Control, if you've played Control, these cool, like, mixed media videos within the game itself. So you can find these little TVs, and they're playing episodes of Night Springs, which is, like, their version of the Twilight Zone, but they're, like, live acted by the actual actors that, like, these characters are based off of. Definitely recommend if you're interested in playing Alan Wake 2, or you're going to play Alan Wake 2, or really, you know, any Remedy games. Alan Wake's easy to recommend as well. It's short, fun, and super interesting. But also you should play Control and all the other Remedy games because they're great. I mean, Max Payne is awesome. Two other games I completed this year that I don't have boxes for, I don't have physical copies for. One is the Outerwilds. The Outerwilds was like heavily recommended to me. I wasn't super hot on it. It was pretty fun. I liked the gameplay. The cruising around in the ship was cool. And just the general vibes was interesting. And at first I was definitely hooked, flying around planet to planet and exploring it. And trying to piece together the story. But for me, it eventually kind of like boiled down to just like finding these little bits of story to get the hint of what I was supposed to do next, or what I could do next, or where I should explore next. And honestly, the ending didn't really, spoilers I guess, but the ending didn't really like cinch everything together in a good way for me. It left me feeling a little bit unsatisfied, unfortunately. But it was super fun. It was super interesting. And I do think that it's worth playing. It's definitely a game I think everyone should give a chance. Just because I wasn't so hot on it doesn't mean that everyone else is going to be so hot on it. I'm by far, I think, in the minority of that. But yeah, it was super cool. It's definitely one game that you can only play once. So I would avoid spoilers. Don't watch any gameplay, anything like that. I think it's best to just go in completely without knowing anything, completely blind. And the other one, which is a game I felt really strongly about, probably entering my 3 favorites at this point. I'll talk about this one first. So number 3, my third favorite game I think that I played out of these 10 was Way of the Samurai. So I didn't know anything about this game. I went in blind. This game is awesome. It's kind of like a roguelike in a way, but it's like a branching story as well. So each time you play it, like when you start a new game, you basically start from the same place every single time you start a new game. You can only save once. If you load that save, the save gets deleted and you have to start over from the beginning again. And there's just all sorts of you can do whatever you want. You can kill whoever you want. You can make all these different decisions on who to help, who to not help, who to side with, who to not side with, and pretty much just do whatever you want. It makes you really feel like you're just like a samurai in like a Kurosawa movie or something like that, if there are any film heads out there. But yeah, it was really, really cool. And the sword play is really challenging. The first few times I had extreme difficulty getting past like the first challenging fight. If you try to help this girl, their restaurant's getting roughed up by some other samurai, and you can fight them. And that guy, I must have fought him like 10 or 15 times before I finally beat him. Maybe I'm just bad, I don't know, but it was certainly challenging. And each playthrough, you can collect more samurai swords, and you can have those swords like shipped back, so when you start your next playthrough, you can start with a better sword. And the swords give different stats, different stances, different moves. As you use the sword, you unlock different techniques that you can use. Really cool game. Really, really cool game. I don't hear many people talking about it, so I really wanted to bring it up and highlight it because I had an absolute blast playing this one. I'm excited to play the second one, give the second one a shot, and eventually the third and the fourth, and so on and so forth. So yeah, this is a huge recommend. Number 2, again, I don't have a box for this one. I played it on my Steam Deck, but Nier Automata. I mean, wow, that game was recommended to me a lot by many people that like RPGs that I know as well. So I was excited to give it a try and finally see what all the hype is about. I'm also a huge fan of Devil May Cry and those kinds of styles of action games. I do have to say the fighting and the gameplay in Nier isn't quite on the same level as Devil May Cry. It's like almost like an echo of that style of game. But the story, the environments, man, that game is, to me, like when people talk about video games being art, that is one that stands out in my mind as an example of a video game that is most definitely artwork. Yoko Taro is a psychopath. He's a maniac, and it's just an amazing game to play. It's an amazing experience. Everybody knows, I think now, there are multiple endings, so you have to play the game multiple times to get the full story. And what Nier Automata did better than Replicant or the first Nier is it's way less repetitive in that way. So even though that you're playing the same game over and over again, you're playing as different characters, you're playing different angles of the story, you're getting more information about what's going on in the world, what's taking place, and really, there are just little details sprinkled in throughout the game that aren't necessarily like story beats. It's like environmental storytelling, I would say. So like you'll come across a bunch of machines trying to act like people, or just stuff that kind of makes your brain think a little bit, and you're like, what's really going on here? And I think it can just get really philosophical. Nier is a game that I want to make like a longer analysis video about someday, but honestly, it's difficult for me to get all of my thoughts in a line with it because I'm just so into it, and it really has sat with me so long after playing it. I mean, I played it maybe middle of the year last year, and I'm still thinking about it today and still kind of separating my thoughts out about it. But for sure, it's a 5 out of 5 game for me. I think everyone should play it. It's just, I don't know, it's just something really special. With the music and the vibes and the way that it tells its story, I think it's worth playing for everyone.
Everything that lives is designed to end. We are perpetually trapped in a never-ending spiral of life and death. Is this a curse? Or some kind of punishment? I often think about the God who blessed us with this cryptic puzzle, and wonder if we'll ever have the chance to kill him.
And another game that's definitely worth playing for everyone. Not really a surprise that I love this game as much as I did, but I just was mega impressed with it, and that's Xenogears. So I don't even know where to start with this game. It's there's so much to it. I felt like this game was tailor-made for me because turn-based RPG, kung fu, giant robots, just like this mix of so much stuff. The characters are awesome. They're all individual and unique and have their own personality and flair. The story's really engrossing, and there's just so much to it. People always, they shit on this game because they say the second disc is like a visual novel. And, I mean, that's definitely a fair criticism, but at the same time, I don't know how they would have finished the game without doing it otherwise. I mean, easily they could have separated this into 2 games. But it's great and amazing just the way it is, in my opinion. I think that it's a must-play for everyone if you like JRPGs. This is the GOAT. This is a legendary game. And I just liked like the sprite graphics along with like the 3D environments. Like I liked that whole vibe. The music was fantastic. Fighting in the gears was really cool. And again, same thing kind of like with Nier. There's a lot of philosophical elements to this game. There's also this book called Xenogears Perfect Works. They published it in Japanese, but I think there are English versions of the PDF out there, which basically outlines what the developers wanted to do with this game that they weren't able to do. They had huge plans. It was like a hugely ambitious game, but unfortunately they weren't able to get all the resources to finish it and make it the way that they wanted to. But if you're interested in reading more about it after playing Xenogears, you can check out the Perfect Works or find the PDF, and those things together, I think, are like chef kiss. I mean, it's something really special. It's definitely a game that I will probably go back to. Maybe someday they will do a remake and be able to really do justice to that second disc. But it is another game that has sat with me for a really long time, and I just wanted to at least give some lip service. In fact, most of this video is made just because I really wanted to talk about this game, but it's also difficult to talk about because there's just so much content there. Those, I'd say, are my top 3. So Xenogears number 1, Nier Automata number 2, and Way of the Samurai number 3. So yeah, this year I plan to pick out another 10 games from the backlog and try to finish those. I don't know if I'll make any kind of long-term videos about them or kind of reviews or anything like that, but yeah, so hopefully I'll make another one of these next year, and I can talk about the games that I played last year. Oh, well, might as well just talk about it now. The games that I'm going to play this year that I aim to finish from the backlog, from the vault. Rystar for the Sega Genesis. This is like a cool platformer game. I don't know much about it, obviously, because I haven't played it yet. Perfect Dark, legendary game. I've never played it. And I think it's about time to change it. I can't get it to focus. That's all right. You can see it. Mother 2, Earthbound. So I've played Mother 2. I've played Earthbound. I played a decent amount of it, but I've never finished it. So I wanted to finish it this year. Pokemon Soul Silver. So truth be told, I've never actually played a Pokemon game. This will be my first one. So I heard this one's really good. I bought it like a super long time ago when I did a trade-in on my Wii, and I never played it. So time to change that, I think. Trying to see what all the Pokemon hype is about. Next one on the list is Illbleed. So this is a chintzy horror game on the Dreamcast. Some people are like super about this game. Other people hate it. I'm looking forward to forming my own opinion about it. Otogi. This is one of the Sega published games for the original Xbox. also think this might be, yeah, this is a From Software game as well, which is super interesting. So I'm very excited to play this. Lost Odyssey is my big RPG pick for this year. This is a big fat RPG. It's pretty legendary as far as I know. Like, a lot of people really like this game, and I think it was also made by one of the creators of Final Fantasy. I don't have all the details straight, so don't hate on me. But one of the big Final Fantasy guys, I think helped put this game together. So yeah, really looking forward to this one. Geist. I think you play as like a ghost or something in this game, like a Geist, of course, like in the name of the title. So I'll be excited to see that. I think there's like some possession elements and other stuff like that. The Last Story, another RPG for this year. This is a Nobu Uematsu game. Another big Final Fantasy guy. I think he also the Neo Fantasian. I think he also was involved with that game as well. So this was one of the big RPG, one of the big three that came out for the Wii. Xenoblade Chronicles, this game, and Pandora's Tower. So looking forward to seeing what that's all about. And finally, Big Kahuna, Haunting Ground. This is one of the more well-known and infamous horror games on the PS2 because it's super fucking expensive. But yeah, looking forward to playing it. Another girl with a dog game. So yeah, I'm sure that I'll be into this one too. All right, well, that's all that I have. That's all I can talk about. I can't think of anything else to say. So without further ado, I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.